Well, hello and welcome to our program tonight. It's always so good to have you with us. I hope you're all staying safe and well and keeping your distance and wearing your mask and all that kind of stuff. You know, that's the only way we're going to be able to stop this thing is for us to take responsibility. Our leadership is taking no responsibility. So if we don't use common sense, it's not going to get used. So anyway, stay well and you know, just use common sense. Wear your mask and keep a little bit of distance from each other. You know, I mean, no, it's not what we like to do. It's what we got to do right now. Anyway, enough about that. Had a good crowd last week. It wasn't a record, but it was the second best crowd we've ever had. So I was happy with that. Had some people from around the world again. I believe we had one from Morocco last week. I don't remember there being one from Morocco before. We may have had some people from Morocco, but they didn't say anything. But we had one from Morocco. You're always welcome. And of course, you know, India, the Philippines, Australia, Canada, and of course the United States. Just a bunch of. I enjoyed our crowd last week. It was very diverse and people from everywhere. Tonight we're continuing with our series where I'm featuring one of my CDs, and tonight is CD number 4. It's Lord, Build Me a Cabin in the Corner of Gloryland. And people have been asking that we lengthen the show again. We added another song not long ago, but I'm finally getting to the point where I think we can add another song. So starting tonight, we're going to add a 7th song to the program. And I hope you'll enjoy that. That'll make the program a little bit longer. It does seem to pass so fast. I mean, we're sitting there chatting and everybody's having a good time and enjoying everything. And all of a sudden it's just over, you know. So anyway, starting tonight, we're going to add a 7th song to our set. And that'll lengthen it a little bit. So I hope you'll enjoy that. But enough said. Let's get right into our program tonight. Tonight I'm going to start you off with a song that was written back in we think it came from the mid-1850s, probably originated with the freedom movements of the time. A fellow by the name of John Benson is given some credit for writing the song, but we're pretty sure he didn't really write the song. He just collected folk songs. He was a publisher from that time. He wrote some songs, but he's best known for his publishing company. And it's doubtful that he actually wrote the song. Now, the first person that is credited with writing the song is a fellow by the name of Ackley. And here again, we don't really know that he wrote the song. It is doubtful that he wrote the song. He probably heard it at some of the freedom meetings or something like that. And then he wrote it he put it down in some of his collections. But it appeared about 1906. The Gaithers did a version of this song. Maya Angelou did a version of the song. Elvis did a version of the song. Johnny Cash did a version of this song. But if I start getting into all the freedom movement people that did this song, I mean, the Guthries and the people who were popular or active during that freedom movement time, we'd probably get into a long list. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and do it for you tonight. So warm up your vocal cords and get out your instruments, and let's do that great old song, I Shall Not Be Moved.
Jesus is my Savior, I shall not be moved. In His love and favor, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, Lord, I shall not be moved. In my Christ abiding, I shall not be moved. In His love I'm hiding, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, I shall not be moved. I shall not be, I shall not be moved. I shall not be, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, Lord, I shall not be moved. If I trust Him ever, I shall not be moved. He will fail me never, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, I shall not be moved. I shall not be, I shall not be moved. I shall not be, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, Lord, I shall not be moved. On His word I'm feeding, I shall not be moved. He's the one that's leading, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, I shall not be moved. I shall not be, I shall not be moved. I shall not be, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, Lord, I shall not be moved. I shall not be, I shall not be moved. I shall not be, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the waters, Lord, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Lord, I shall not be moved.
For this next song, I'm going to do you a song that I wrote. I don't write a lot of songs, but now and then one comes to me. And I had been in church and I heard the pastor use these words as a congregational things where he would say a word, a phrase, and we would repeat it. And by the time he got through with all of the phrases and everything, I'm going, he just put together a song. And so I set about putting it in a musical fashion so that I could sing it. But one night on this program, on the Friday Night Sing-Along, I can't remember who it was now, but it may have been Oink. But anyway, they said, what day is it? You know, and everybody was sort of guessing, you know, like we were guessing holidays or this or that. And finally he says, this is the day the Lord has made. And it reminded me, wait a minute, I wrote a song about that. Maybe I need to put it on the program. So I went and found it on my album and put it together into a video format so I could show it to you. And I've played it a time or two, and people seem to respond to it well. But anyway, I'm going to do that again for you tonight. It's called This Is the Day the Lord Has Made.
This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. I am more than a conqueror in every situation. I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. am more than a conqueror. In every situation, I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in it. I will be glad and rejoice in it. Yes, I'll be glad and I'll rejoice.
Right now, I want to tell you about something that we've done. I mentioned not long ago that I had seen a T-shirt. I was raised on sweet tea and Jesus, and a couple of you mentioned you'd like to have one. So I got to looking, and YouTube has partnered with a company called Teespring, and what they do is you go to their site and you design the T-shirt, and then they fulfill the orders for you. So you will now see below our screen, there will be a little merchandise, what YouTube calls a merchandise shelf. And so at this point, we have 3 new T-shirts. We have the Sweet Tea and Jesus T-shirt. We have an I Heard Bird T-shirt, and these are available not only in T-shirts, but in sweatshirts as well. And then we have one with the Saturday Night logo on it. And it's T-shirt and sweatshirt as well. So I just wanted to let you know that if any of you would like a T-shirt, then certainly click down below and it'll take you to the Teespring site and place your order there, and they'll take care of fulfilling the order for you. But I just wanted to let you know that. Now back to the musical portion of our program. This next song was written by a married couple, Blanche and Virgil Brock. Virgil was ordained to preach when he was 19, and he was a pastor of several Quaker churches in his early years, but he became an evangelist toward the end of his life, and he wrote words, and his wife wrote the music to things. They wrote some 500 songs, and he wrote this beautiful song and used it in a lot of his evangelistic campaigns and everything. And even at 91, when he passed away at 91, people were still calling him to come and do programs. But he wrote this great old song called Beyond the Sunset. And I was playing one of my Walmart jobs one day, and always looking for music for the next album. And a fella came up and he says, "Do you do Beyond the Sunset?" I said, "No, I remember the song. It's a beautiful song." He said, "Man, I'd love to hear you do a version of that." So I went home, looked it up, and found the words and everything, and it made it on my next album. But anyway, we're going to do it for you tonight, and we're going to calm things down a little bit. It's that beautiful song called Beyond the Sunset.
Beyond the sunset, oh blissful morning, when with our Savior heaven is begun, earth's toiling ended, oh glorious dawning, beyond the sunset, when day is done. Beyond the sunset, no clouds will gather, no storms will threaten, no fears annoy. O day of gladness, O day unending, beyond the sunset, eternal joy. Beyond the sunset, a hand will guide me to God the Father, whom I adore. His glorious presence, His words of welcome will be my portion on that fair shore. Beyond the sunset, oh glad reunion with our dear loved ones who've gone before. In that fair homeland, we'll know no parting. Beyond the sunset, forevermore. Beyond the sunset, forevermore.
This next song I'm going to do for you tonight was a song that was written by Johnson Oatman at the turn of the century. And Johnson wrote some 3,000 songs, gospel songs in his lifetime. He felt like that was his calling. And my wife kept wanting me to do this song. And I liked the song okay, but I don't know that I would have picked it as early as I did. But it wound up on my Lord Build Me a Cabin in the Corner of Glory Land CD. And I'm glad I recorded it because a lot of people have liked this song. But it's a song that, if we, sometime at night, instead of counting sheep, if we would count our blessings, we might sleep a little bit better. Sometimes we tend to complain more than we thank God for our blessings. But I can just tell you, at 75, I wake up every morning, I thank God for one more day. But anyway, if we would learn to be thankful instead of complaining all the time, you'd be surprised how that alone will change your outlook on life, and it'll give you a better life. But we're going to do our version of this great old song for you tonight. It's called Count Your Blessings.
When upon life's billows you are tempest-tossed, when you are discouraged thinking all is lost, count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. Are you ever burdened with a load of care? Does the cross seem heavy you are called to bear? Count your many blessings, every doubt will fly, and you will be singing as the days go by. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. When you look at others with their land and gold, think that Christ has promised you His wealth untold. Count your many blessings money cannot buy, your reward in heaven nor your home on high. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. So amid the conflict, whether great or small, do not be discouraged, God is over all. Count your many blessings, angels will attend, help and comfort give you to your journey's end. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done.
For this next song, I'm going to slow things down a little bit, and I'm going to do a song for you from my Lord Build Me a Cabin in the Corner of Glory Land CD. Thomas Dorsey. Where do we even start to talk about this guy? He was born in 1899 in Villa Rica, Georgia. He lived a long life. He lived to 1993, and he passed away in Chicago, Illinois. He was suffering from Alzheimer's at the time. But what a life he lived in his early days. His father was a minister, and his mother was a piano player. So obviously music was in the family. He grew up playing music, but he just fell in love with the blues. You got to understand, before Thomas Dorsey, we now think of gospel music, particularly African-American gospel music and blues, as being somewhat kin. But they really weren't until Thomas Dorsey. The church people sort of looked down on the blues. You know, that was a worldly kind of music. You usually found that in honky-tonks and bars and stuff. And in his early days, Dorsey, he did play bars, and he played house parties, and he played under the nicknames of Barrel House Tom, Texas Tom, and Georgia Tom. He was probably best known as Georgia Tom. He was eventually inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame as Georgia Tom. And he was one of the first African-American songwriters to be inducted into the Nashville Hall of Fame. So this guy he led a storied life. But this song he wrote, he had gone through, well, there's just so much to tell here. In 1924, he started working for Paramount Records, which in 1924, record companies were still in a fledgling stage, though they were starting to come on. You know, people were starting to have record players and records and stuff like that. But he went to work for Paramount, and he worked for Ma Rainey. As a matter of fact, he wound up marrying Ma Rainey's wardrobe assistant. But anyway, time rocked on, and he did his worldly work and all this kind of stuff. But in 1931, his wife went into labor, and she passed away, and the son that was born passed away in the next day or so. So you can just imagine, this guy's distraught at this point, you know, and his life is starting to change, and he's starting to think about things. And by this time, he's already the choir director in a couple of different churches. And anyway, he started to infuse the blues music into the gospel music that he was writing. He wrote, the one that we're going to do tonight is Peace in the Valley. He wrote Peace in the Valley. But he also wrote Precious Lord, Take My Hand. And he wrote that after his wife died. And you can just imagine he was needing God to take his hand about that time. But anyway, he went on to write some 400 songs. You know, a lot of them were blues and secular music, but many were gospel music. But this song, there's so much to tell you about this. I'm going to have to break this up into a couple of segments, and we'll do it again on a later program, and I'll tell you about all the artists that did this song. I mean, this is just one of the most popular songs of all time. And so we're going to do our version of it for you tonight. This song by Thomas Dorsey, who changed the face of gospel music. There will be peace in the valley.
Well, I'm tired and so weary, but I must go along till the Lord comes and calls me away. Oh yes. Well, the morning is bright and the Lamb is the light, and the night is as fair as the day. Oh yes, there will be peace in the valley for me someday. There will be peace in the valley for me. Oh Lord, I pray there'll be no sadness, no sorrow, my Lord, no trouble I see. There will be peace in the valley for me, for me. There the flowers will be blooming and the grass will be green, and the skies will be clear and serene. Oh yes, well the sun ever beams in this valley of dreams, and no clouds there will ever be seen. Oh yes, there will be peace in the valley for me someday. There will be peace in the valley for me. Oh Lord, I pray there'll be no sadness, no sorrow, my Lord, and no trouble I see. There will be peace in the valley for me, for me. Well, the bear will be gentle and the wolf will be tame, and the lion shall lay down by the lamb. Oh yes, well the beast from the wild shall be led by a child, and I'll be changed from this creature that I am. Oh yes, there will be peace in the valley for me someday. There will be peace in the valley for me. Oh Lord, I pray there'll be no sadness, no sorrow, my Lord, and no trouble I see. There will be peace in the valley for me, for me. There will be peace in the valley for me.
For our next song tonight, I'm going to do you a song that was written by Fannie J. Crosby. What an interesting lady this lady was. I mean, she was so popular in the country. She was blind, but she went on to do so many great things. Wrote over 8,000 hymns, or the poetry to the hymn, the poem that became the hymns. This particular song, "Pass Me Not, O Gentle Savior," was written by her in 1868, and a fellow by the name of William Dawn put the music to it in 1870. The Gaithers did a version of it. MC Hammer did a version of it. Bob Dylan did a version of it. Several people have recorded the song. It's well over 800 hymnals. This lady in her lifetime, this is hard to believe. She wrote so many songs. Now, she did live from 1820 to 1915, so she had a good long life. She lived to be 95. But in writing over 8,000 songs and writing under some 50 pseudonyms, she sold. Now, this is not modern times. This is back when they weren't selling records. They were selling sheet music. She sold over 100 million pieces of sheet music that had her songs. So there was a lot going on with this lady. I mean, she might have been blind, but she was not incapacitated by any means. You know, she was a very strong woman. Grover Cleveland was one of her great friends, and he wrote her a congratulatory letter on her 85th birthday, and basically celebrating their 50 years of friendship. So she was well known. I mean, she was entertained in the White House, and she was called on to speak. She just always had speaking engagements she had to do, and of course, writing songs all the time. But what a wonderful lady this was. You know, she didn't make any excuses about her inability to see. In fact, she even counted it a blessing, because she said she was able to see things in her blindness that she would not have been able to see if she had been distracted by what she was seeing. But tonight I'm going to do my version of it for you. It's called "Pass Me Not, O Gentle Savior."
Pass me not, O gentle Savior, hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. Savior, Savior, hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. Let me at thy throne of mercy find the sweet relief. Kneeling there in deep contrition, help my unbelief. Savior, Savior, hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. Trusting only in thy merit, would I seek thy face. Heal my wounded, broken spirit, save me by thy grace. Savior, Savior, hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. Thou, the spring of all my comfort, more than life to me. Whom have I on earth beside thee? Whom in heaven but thee? Savior, Savior, hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. Savior, Savior, hear my humble thou art calling. Do not pass me by.
Right now, I just want to remind you about our website, www.birdyeomans.com. All my CDs are there. My double CDs are there. My songbook's there. There's a couple of specials that we have there. And just want to invite you to come by and take a look at it. If you have any questions, my wife Linda will be glad to help you. Her email address is linda@birdyeomans.com. And thank you so much for being a part of our program. And now we're just going to get you back to the musical portion of the show. My, how the time flies. I say this every week, but it just goes by so fast. It's come time for our last song tonight. And we're going to end up tonight with a song. This is a song about humility. Curtis Stewart wrote this in 1942. He was in World War II. And he said in a moment of humility, he was just telling God, you know, I don't expect a mansion. I don't, just let me be there. I just want a cabin in Glory Land, you know. And this song it was just one of the more popular songs back in the mid 20th century. Hank Williams, I think, had the first real hit on the song. Bill Monroe, Stamps Baxter, the Lefevres, the Blackwood Brothers, Porter Wagner. A bunch of people recorded the song. In fact, it was in the top 10 Billboard charts in the pop and the sacred and the country categories. 3 different categories that made it into the top 10 by different artists. So the song was very popular, and I love the song. My wife and I have retired. We live in a cabin in the mountains. So I can just assure you, I'll be fine with the cabin, Lord. You know, I just want to shake your hand when I get there, you know. But anyway, we're gonna wind up this evening with a song that I love. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of Glory Land.
Many years I've been looking for a place to call home, but I fail here to find it, so I must travel on. I don't care for fine mansions on earth's sinking sand. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of Glory Land. Yes, build me just a cabin in the corner of Glory Land, in the shade of the tree of life where it may ever stand, where I can just hear the angels sing and shake Jesus' hand. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of Glory Land. Blessed Lord, I'm not asking to live in the midst, for I know I'm not worthy of such splendor as this, but I'm asking for mercy while humbly I stand. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of Glory Land. Yes, build me just a cabin in the corner of Glory Land, in the shade of the tree of life where it may ever stand, where I can just hear the angels sing and shake Jesus' hand. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of Glory Land. I have many dear loved ones who've gone on this way. On that great final morning, I'd love to hear them say, corner of Glory Land. Yes, build me just a cabin in the corner of Glory Land, in the shade of the tree of life where it may ever stand, where I can just hear the angels sing and shake Jesus' hand. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of Glory Land. Yes, build me just a cabin in the corner of Glory Land, in the shade of the tree of life where it may ever stand, where I can just hear the angels sing and shake Jesus' hand. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of Glory Land. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of Glory Land. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of Glory Land.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight. It's just always a pleasure to do these Friday nights with you. Just pleasant time spent together. And I'm getting used to so many of you. It's starting to be like a little congregation. And everybody comes in asking about this one and that one, and I love it. I just love it when we do it like that. But anyway, glad to know everybody's enjoying the program. And we started tonight. We added another song to the program, so our program's going to be a little bit longer from now on. And I just kept hearing people ask that. So, you know, as I can make more and more songs and have more material, you know, we just can't repeat every song every week. But I'm about 2 months now between having to repeat a song. So, you know, and most of the songs we do, people like. We listen to them over and over again anyway. So, not to mention you'll get better and better at singing them as you hear them more often. But anyway, but before I go, let me remind you, our website, www.birdyeomans.com, my CDs, the book. The T-shirts are not at the website because they're being fulfilled by a T-shirt manufacturer. So you have to get that from my YouTube, the merchant shelf below my YouTube pictures. But anyway, if you have any questions, my wife Linda will be glad to help you with that. Her email address is linda@birdyeomans.com. Thank you again for being with us. Be kind to each other. I love you. I'll see you next Friday night.